Hello, today I'm going to talk about GMOs and maybe some parents' concerns about GMOs. So GMO is a genetically modified organism, and this has been quite a topic for probably the last 20 to 15 years. Parents often are looking for the best way that they can provide for their children and the best food that they can give their children. And so, being a maternal child health practitioner, you might have a parent come up to you and ask you about what's the deal with GMO foods and organic and versus non-organic. So the genetically modified organism, or the GMO food, just means basically that there were some crops that were genetically altered or tweaked to be more sustainable for farmers to be able to mass produce. The concept of GMO, or modifying our crops, is something that we've done forever, but this certain technique of you know, finding a desirable trait has changed and shifted, and that the change in the technique is really what has people concerned. Um, so, kind of basically, or so in my handout, we talked a little bit about what a GMO is, and then there's a lot of description on the different sides of the argument. I won't touch on all of them for time, but you're certainly welcome to go ahead and read. Some of the main I guess worries that parents have with GMOs is that they've heard that it's been linked to autism or cancer. Um, so there are a lot of activist groups out there with really powerful and emotional stories, and they've created documentaries that can be found on Netflix, and they have, flooded the internet with claims that there is a link. So in these studies, or in these claims, we can see they usually show graphs of the increase of GMOs, or the start of GMOs, and then the increase, and then they will correlate that to autism rates, and oftentimes those curves look the same. And so they will plead with others to listen, that we can see that with the rise of GMOs, the rise of autism is there. That is the correlation is there if you put the graphs close together, but they oftentimes they don't talk about other determinants of health that might impact autism or other health concerns. We have an increase of poverty and single parenthood, and an increased welfare use, and all those also impact health. But when activists are talking about that, they don't usually bring up the fact that there could be other things attributing to the increase of autism, and it might not just be GMOs. Another link is the cancer. The other discussion point is cancer, and does cancer can GMOs cause cancer? And there was a study where a scientist had taken a specific GMO product and gave it to some rats, and the rats developed cancerous tumors. And so since then, that study in the scientific community has been debunked, but it is definitely still widely found on the internet or in different documentaries, that could cause, the GMOs could cause cancer. Um, so there, that's kind of the gist of the arguments out there from the scientific community. There has not been any evidence that the GMOs are causing health consequences, and the wild claims that have been made through some of these activist groups and communities, has really caught wind. Hawaii was one of the very first, or was the first state to ban GMO products. And once they had taken that stand, it caused this international spread of other countries following suit. And it wasn't until so the scientist community kind of heard this and started doing a lot of research to try to just calm everyone's either prove that GMOs have implications, or just kind of calm everyone's fear. And you know, the scientific community is not changing, that they don't believe that there are long-term impacts, and that yes, we have increased herbicide use now with GMOs, but the herbicides that we are using are less toxic and overall better for us to consume. So there's just a lot of information out there for parents to have to sift through. And scientists really encourage parents to, you know, look at both sides and making sure that they're not playing into the confirmation bias. So they're going to the internet to find that they are right, and that they're really just going to the internet to find both sides to make an informed decision for themselves and for their family. And I think that's the best advice that we can give parents, is really giving them the ownership of making their own informed decision, and maybe give them just a gist of the different sides that are out there, but wanting them to really do the research so that they can be comfortable in the decision that they make. So again, here's some references that you can go ahead and look, and maybe some main talking points on both sides. And thank you for your time.